If you have been going, what in the world is going on with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni? We have you covered. We interviewed Justin way back in July this last summer, right when the movie was coming out. He did very, very few interviews when it came to the release of It Ends With Us, and we were one of them. So we have had our head in this ever since things started. We want to be able to break things down for you. That's why this week, every single day, we'll be breaking down different parts of the case, how things started at the very, very beginning. We're talking what the movie is, what the book is, and how Justin and Blake both got involved, all the way to the red carpet drama, the post-release speculation that there might be something a little bit off with this, and why the heck is she talking about promoting drinks and we're talking about It Ends With Us? Then to lawsuit number 1, lawsuit number 2, lawsuit number 3, and everything to today. We're going to break it down for you so that you don't have to break it down for your people. We're putting this on YouTube. We're putting it in podcast form. Today, Brittany is starting us off with episode 1 of the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni
It was
situation.
2000 BC. No, okay. No, you can send them this link anytime somebody asks you about them. Just send them this link because that's what I want to do too, because people ask me all the time. So let's start way back on this little thing called the book. It Ends With Us. It's a romance novel by Colleen Hoover, published August 2nd, 2016. It was based on the relationship between her mother and father. Hoover described this as, quote, the hardest book I've ever written. It explores very intense themes of domestic violence and emotional abuse. All right. So this book does really well. People love it. It's all over Book Talk. It's all over. You should be reading this. As of 2019, this novel sold over 1 million copies worldwide and been translated into 20 languages. So It Ends With Us is an obvious success. It keeps going and going and going well. But that date, 2019, matters because 2019 is when Wayfarer Studios buys the rights to It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us. And they officially acquired them in 2019. The book ended up continuously, even after they bought the rights, even exploding more. It was top sales for 2022, 2023. It officially, hit best-selling novel lists of over 1 million copies sold at 2023. So people had a lot in stake. People were very emotionally attached to this book. So when they found out that the rights had been bought, people were pretty excited about it. So let's talk about who bought this book. Baldoni's Wayfarer Studios I went to their website to kind of really what's the feel of this studio? It is an independent production studio that actively develops, produces, and fully finances a diverse range of highly original content, including feature films, episodic television, documentaries, unscripted series, and podcasts. Wayfarer's mission is to create impactful projects that highlight connections and social change.
Checks out that you would want to buy the rights then to a book that talks about domestic violence.
Yeah, and they, we got to talk about the co-founder was Justin Baldoni, Steven Sarowitz, and led by CEO Jamie Heath. They also made sure to say it harnesses the power of storytelling to champion inspirational stories that act as true agents of social change. The way we got connected with Justin Baldoni is they made a movie called Clouds, and it's this beautiful story about a teenager with cancer who finds inspiration through music, somebody who is, in the community. It was a big deal when Clouds was made.
Here in the Twin Cities.
Yes. On top of that, I thought this was crazy. This is a fun little fact of Wayfarer Studios. They also made the Garfield movie.
What? Someone needed to bring attention to lasagna.
Right? That was, at the time, they're one of their biggest successes, and something will beat that. Spoiler alert, It Ends With Us. It had $257 million in sales. So they also did things like Ezra. It was a story about a child with autism it was a true story. And another big project that you're going to hear about is the Man Enough podcast, a podcast that explores masculinity and is co-hosted by Baldoni, Jamie Heath, and Liz Plank. So They also do a lot of nonprofit things, including Wayfarer has done things with Skid Row Carnival of Love. It provides service to homeless and partnering with a nonprofit, No More, to provide resources and information related to domestic abuse. So we have kind of a feel for Wayfarer and why Justin Baldoni, kind of what he's taken on.
And why Colleen Hoover said, yeah, I would love for you to have my baby.
So what's crazy is before she was even approached by them, Justin Baldoni decided to read It Ends With Us and read it. And he has had a personal situation where he was in a domestic violence relationship where he was the victim. So when he read this book, he found himself absolutely sobbing, and he struck up a pen pal relationship with Hoover. They started emailing back and forth. And when his movie 5 Feet Apart, which was his first film, was about to come out, she went to see it in theaters, and she wrote that she thinks she could do It Ends With Us justice. So it was very much so many studios would have wanted to have It Ends With Us, to make it very clear, because we saw this book, tremendous success. It blew up. This book was going to do well, but Hoover decided it's actually a pretty small studio compared to some of the ones she could have gone with. But since she had a personal relationship with Baldoni, ends up going with Wayfarer Studios. He said that I promised I'd protect the book. And at one point when they were talking, she thought out the idea of, have you ever thought of being one of the characters? Ryle, ? And Ryle in It Ends With Us is the person who
the abuser,
the domestic abuser in the relationship, who's got a lot of charisma, very attractive. I mean, when you read the book, you go, oh yeah, so it would make sense why Baldoni would play it. So it wasn't his idea to both direct and star in this, but it kind of organically happened. Okay, so beep boop pop. Let me get back to my notes. We've got now Baldoni officially, Wayfarer owns it in 2019. We've got Blake Lively signing on in 2023. It was reported in January 2023 that she would not only be the star in the show, but she was going to be an executive producer capacity as well.
And people that read the book were not that excited about her casting, because Lily was supposed to be a little younger and supposed to look a little different than Blake's normal, glamorous, blonde, in her 30s woman.
Yes. And that's so important, is that keep in mind when we're talking about this, there's a lot of emotional attachment to this book and a lot of controversy that happened from the get-go around like what perceived thoughts that were going to go into that. Now, we're going to put on our magic kind of glasses, and we're going to use some information that we do have from the future and kind of apply it to how Baldoni and Blake Lively seem to have a working relationship. There was a lot of talk about collaboration. We did find out that she wanted to rewrite some of the most important scenes, some of the intimate scenes, especially if you know the rooftop scene where Ryle and Lily, her character, Lily Bloom, first meet. So right away, there's some kind of more probably collaboration than I think Baldoni even thought he was getting himself into. Another big thing that was a big talking point, and I know this seems silly, but it had a big deal, was the wardrobe. Right away when we got scenes from the movie being filmed, we had a lot of kind of mismatched, crazy outfits. And Blake Lively went through interview after interview, very proud to say that she was very involved with what Lily Bloom wore, so much so that she noted that a lot of the pieces worn by her character were actually pulled from her own closet, borrowed from Ryan Reynolds, her husband's, or loaned from her best friend, supermodel Gigi Hadid.
Oh, wow.
And then there was a lot of backlash around that because there was a costume designer who was saying that, yes, Blake was involved and there was talk around, but was she asked to be involved or did she get involved? And that's my first crack in the case where we see something and we went, I'm sorry, what?
It's a little tense.
A little tense. We're recapping all of the It Ends With Us drama. Now we have lawsuit on lawsuit on lawsuit with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. I just talked about how Blake Lively decided she wanted to be very involved in Lily Bloom's clothes. And it was the most chaotic. And I like a little eccentric clothes. Okay. Like I can dig it. But she kind of ended up looking like she was, and people have real feelings about this because of the emotional attachment they had to the character. This woman ended up cosplaying what I think she thought like a broke person would wear, mixed with like high heels. It was like they wear canvas. There were a lot of canvas.
Yes.
A lot of like 17 shirts. Don't forget every ring. Also,
yeah, all 17 rings on 5 fingers. How do you do that? I don't know.
At one point, there's a text about a sexy beanie. I'm sorry, what is that?
We don't, in Minnesota, we wear a lot of beanies and we don't know.
No, I don't. I've never in my life said like, maybe I'll take everything off for this sexy beanie.
Ooh, I should wear my sexy beanie tonight. Right? And
beanies only, yeah.
Remember the shoes
the
came
high
out
heel,
with
yeah.
the like tennis shoes that were $5,500 and people were like, this girl is supposed to be broker than a joker. What are you doing?
And this just gives you kind of a feel of what's going on. There's like a takeover that's happening. Maybe that and maybe there's a lot of, and this is only allegedly, only like what we've heard. A lot of people thought, well, maybe Justin was giving her wardrobe approval and like that would kind of release him from having to like give her more control. It's kind of like when I tell Gogo, do you want to have a bath before or after dinner? It's like fake control.
You're going to get a bath, but you can decide when it is.
So like, hey, Blake, you can pick the clothes. I don't really care. I mean, he even went in an interview and was like, yeah, I don't have no interest in that. So I trusted her.
Well, and honestly, she is a fashionista. Like I love seeing what she's wearing to red carpets and things that she's done in the past. So it kind of made sense.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't make sense in the end, but yeah. We have to talk about Justin Baldoni, talking about how hard it was to make this film. There was a lot of conversation around, he almost had a near breakdown filming this. He said it was very hard to both direct and be the abuser in a film. He said it was a very lonely job. I will just being very candid because you're kind of the top of the totem pole. In the moments of quiet, everybody has 1,000 questions for you and nobody wants to disturb you. And you don't really have many people to talk to. And you can't necessarily share your anxiety, your nervousness about something because you're also a leader, let alone directing while playing a character who does the things that Ryle does in a movie. So there were moments in this filming where I would just have to leave. I'd have to remove myself and shake it out.
Yeah, just because you would have to feel so deep into it if you're playing the abuser. You have to get into character.
Yeah.
And then you also have to direct people on how to act around your abuser.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot.
And we have this talk too, like maybe when you have really delicate scenes like that, maybe being a director and an actor isn't the move. And I'm not like throwing they made a big mistake, but like I could see that power dynamic being a little bit too much.
Throw a producer in there as well, too. Because
Yes.
financially, he had a lot of backing on whether or not this had success or not. So there's the financial side of it as well. So every single thing, you have to weigh all of that while you're trying to execute. It's be so hard.
Yeah. And yeah, I agree. I think that would be a lot for a lot of people. Now you've got people that are saying that there was a little bit too much power distributed. The fact that she was given a producer title, but I don't know how.
That Blake was.
Yes, Blake was. You know how he mentioned before that there is actually a sequel to It Ends With Us and it starts with us. I never read it. I think it's a prequel, but either way, it's the second book in her series. So everyone was very excited to immediately when they know that this movie was going to happen. It was only natural for an interviewer to ask, oh my goodness, does that mean you guys, because Wayfarer owns the rights to It Starts With Us as well, are you guys going to make that movie? And this is the first time, I think, looking back, that we saw the crack. We saw that there was something going on, that there was more than meets the eye. There was a lot of rumors around them not getting along, and they even saw like them arguing in the streets. I think that was the first clip we saw. We saw there was a clip of them and we're like, well, we don't know if that's from the movie or if they're just having a discussion. I think our show even went like, hey guys, people can talk aggressively at each other. Me and Kendall do it every day in the double wide. If you took a snapshot of us, you go, these two people hate each other.
Wait, what? I often wear my pajamas when we're arguing too. I think it was one of those scenes where they're like right outside the bar. Yep. So he looks so goofy. Yeah. He's wearing pajamas.
And then God knows what she's wearing. A sexy beanie or two or 14.
By the way, I think It Starts With Us, and Mike, you might have been just looking at this. This is after the events, I believe, of
chronologically.
Mm-hmm.
But it's technically the second book in the series. So people were pretty excited about that. So It Ends With Us when Justin Baldoni was being asked, he got asked on a red carpet, Entertainment Tonight asked him, so are you going to be making It Starts With Us? Like, we can't wait to see that happen. And this is what he said. I think there are better people for that one. I think Blake Lively is ready to direct. That's what I think.
Wow.
I guess at the time, if I heard that without knowing anything now, which is the game we're playing for the sake of these arguments, is I would go, well, that's interesting. Maybe it was just they got along so well and he thinks a woman should do it.
Yeah.
Because we knew at the time, even when he said this, that he is very, he would do things to promote women's empowerment.
Yeah.
And so that would be at the time maybe my only take. A little odd because this movie made a lot of money, or should have, right?
Yes.
Like
it will, yes.
But also, okay, maybe he'll be producing still and she'll just be the director. I don't know. It still is like a beige flag.
It sounds like when I say, I love that journey for you.
Not good when she says that.
It means it's not necessarily bad. It means I want nothing to do with it.
See, again, it's not good when she says that.
It's not like when I get excited about something, I'm like, yeah, but you come to me and say, I think we should go on a walk in this terribly cold weather. I'd say, I love that journy for you. You're on your own.
Wear a hat.
Wear a hat. I love that.
A sexy beanie.
A couple of them. 45 sexy beanies along your body. I think this was the first time he showed any amount of shade at all. And again, he never really is the one to fire the first shot. But this is the first sign that we saw that he says, I think Blake Lively is ready to direct. That's what I think. Like, he's making sure he only states facts. Like, I think she's ready to direct because she tried to direct this whole movie. And couldn't be me, doll, is the vibe.
I think there was one other thing, too, pre-promotional.
Yeah, you want to talk
That's
about...
kind of where we're at with the book with Colleen Hoover, right?
So our next one is, keep in mind, the movie has not come out. This is June 15th, 2024. Blake Lively has gone to Grapevine, Texas, where they're going to be at a book convention. She said at this convention, literally, this is not a bit. It's literally not done. To be honest, what really happens is we were like, we're going to show the movie. And the studio was like, no. So keep in mind, Wayfarer Studios. No, you're not going to, you're going to show 20 minutes. And we're like, no, we're going to show the movie. And they're like, it's not done. And I was like, they don't effing care. They were like, if everything's not perfect and not done, what if we're going to change things? Lively then went on to say, I was like, these are the people who authored the success of the book. You guys are what matters. You guys seeing this movie is important to us. So she ends up playing an uncut full version of this film for people.
The full version?
Well, that's what they're saying is, and I guess people were pissed. We didn't even find out about this till way later. I'm trying to see when this article was written because it was later in the February. We found out that she'd actually shown the movie to a group of people.
Against Wayfarer's wishes.
AKA Justin Baldoni's. So could you imagine how pissed they would be?
Yeah. We explicitly told you not to and you did it anyway.
And this will lead us up to the movie premiere. The movie premiere that had us viewing this thing in a certain light because we have barely had any information. We're going to tell you all about that tomorrow. Again, all about that episode 2. We're going to have all these episodes here on YouTube that you can send to people who are asking you what the heck's going on with Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni.